Imagine you're alone, deep in a forest where no trail leads home. The trees twist like they're watching you, and every shadow feels too alive. Tonight, we follow Ethan Walker, a man who thought a weekend hike would clear his mind. But what he found in those woods will haunt him forever. This is not just a story, it's a warning. And once you hear it, you might never go into the forest again. Let's begin.
I should have turned around when the trail disappeared. The sun was low behind the trees when I realized I hadn't seen a marker in over an hour. Just trees, gnarled, leaning, like they were listening. The path I'd been following, if you could call it that, had slowly degraded from packed earth to broken patches of moss-covered rock and twisted roots. I kept telling myself it would open back up. That I'd just taken a wrong turn from the main loop. But the silence had weight. No birds. No wind. Not even the buzz of a single mosquito, which in June in the Adirondacks was unnatural enough to raise the hairs on my arms. The deeper I went, the more wrong everything felt. Like I'd stepped into a photograph taken decades ago, faded, still, waiting for something to move. I looked back. The trail behind me didn't look like anything I remembered. No broken tree with the lightning scar. No plastic ribbon from the ranger station. Just shadow and 1,000 branches clawing at each other overhead. I was lost. And not in the this'll take a few minutes to figure out way. I was genuinely, deeply, and horrifyingly lost in a forest that no longer seemed interested in letting me leave. I checked my phone. 1 bar. No signal. The compass app spun twice and landed pointing south. Then west. Then spun again. Cool, I muttered, trying to keep the fear from leaking into my voice. I turned slowly, scanning the trees. The ground dipped a few yards ahead, where a narrow hollow ran between sloped ridges. I figured if I followed the low ground, it might lead me to water. And if I found water, I could find a way out. That's what the survival blogs say. Anyway, I walked. And walked. Minutes stretched into an hour. The hollow path narrowed and steepened. The light died fast under the thick canopy. What light remained flickered like fire through the tangle of branches, like something was moving between the trees just ahead of me. Always just ahead. Then I started seeing the marks. At first, I thought they were just claw scars on a tree trunk, bears, maybe, or deer rubbing antlers. But they were too high. Too deliberate. 3 horizontal lines. Always in threes. Always clean. Then I saw them again. And again. 3 parallel slashes. Etched into bark that bled sap like old wounds. Some trees had multiple sets, like tallies. Others looked freshly cut. At some point I stopped pretending they were from animals. A sharp crack echoed through the trees to my right, dry wood breaking under weight. I spun, heart in my throat. Nothing. Just more trees, leaning too close together, branches overlapping like bony fingers. I picked up my pace. Every step made me more aware of my body, my aching feet, my dry throat, the sweat chilling on my back. The terrain fought me every inch. The trail, if it had ever been one, had eroded into a clutter of stones and brambles. My ankle twisted once on a loose root and I fell hard, scraping both palms on the rough ground. I stayed down longer than I should have. Breathing. Listening. That was when I heard it. Not footsteps, too soft. Not an animal, too smooth. A whisper. Long and distant, drifting through the trees like a thread of wind. I held my breath. The whisper came again. Too far to make out the words. Too close to ignore. My skin crawled. I scrambled up and kept moving, too fast, stumbling, crashing through brush like a drunk. Whatever caution I had left was gone, replaced by sheer instinct. Get away. From what, I didn't know. But something was behind me. Or beside me. Or watching me through the trees. That was when I saw the cairn. A small pile of stones, just off the trail. My legs burned. Thorns tore at my pants. I ducked under a low branch, scraped my forehead on the next one. The forest blurred around me. I didn't stop until I tripped again, hard, tumbling down a short slope into mud and ferns. I hit the bottom with a grunt. Rolled onto my back. And stared. Above me, nailed to a crooked pine, was a wooden sign. The paint had long since peeled away, but I could still make out the letters. Hollow Path. The words filled me with something colder than fear. Because I'd passed this exact tree hours ago. I should have screamed. But the breath left my body the moment I recognized the tree. The hollow path. Somehow, impossibly, I had looped back. Even though I had never turned around. I staggered to my feet. Blood trickled down my shin where a rock had torn through my jeans. My hands trembled as I brushed off mud and pine needles. The whispering had stopped. But that somehow made it worse. Silence like that wasn't natural. It was purposeful. Like everything around me was waiting. I thought about staying by the tree. Maybe someone would find me. But I knew deep down. No one was coming. This forest didn't want me found. It wanted me to stay. I walked again. No longer picking a direction, just moving. Branches clawed at my jacket. Every step felt like sinking deeper into something thick and unseen. Then I saw another cairn. Then another. And another. Each stack of stones taller than the last. Each one leaning, just slightly, toward the center of the trail. Guiding me. Or warning me. The ground dipped again. This time into a wider clearing, where the trees pulled back just enough to let in gray light. It smelled like rot and copper. Like wet leaves and old blood. I stepped into the hollow. The air shifted. Heavy. Charged. Like something had just been here. Or still was. At the center of the hollow was a stone circle. Rough boulders stacked 2 feet high in a ring. Black with lichen. Inside it, the earth was scorched. Dead. No grass. No moss. Just ash and dust. I should have backed away. But something pulled at me. Like gravity. Like memory. I stepped into the ring. My ears popped. The sound of the forest vanished. No wind. No rustling leaves. Just the thud of my own heartbeat. Too fast. Too loud. And then I heard her. A voice. Female. Soft. Just behind me. She whispered my name. I turned, but no one was there. Just trees. And the circle of stones. But I remembered that voice. Even if I couldn't place it. Even if it made no sense. I ran again. Tripping over roots, crashing through brush, not caring about direction anymore. Just away. From the ring. From her. The forest blurred. Light flickered wildly through the trees, like the sun was blinking. I ducked, twisted, slipped in mud, slammed my shoulder against a trunk. Kept going. And then I saw it. A shape. Ahead of me. A structure. Gray and broken, almost hidden by vines. A cabin. Or what was left of one. Caved-in roof. One crooked window. The door hanging by a hinge. I don't know why, but I walked toward it. It felt like the last place left. Like the forest wanted me here. Inside was dark. Cool. The air smelled like dust and mildew and something else, something sour. The floor groaned under my weight. There were carvings on the walls. Not words. Just tallies. Hundreds of them. 3 slashes. Over and over. Then I saw the mirror. Cracked. Standing in the corner. And I saw myself. But I didn't recognize my own face. I looked older. Pale. Thinner. Like I hadn't eaten or slept in days. My eyes were bloodshot. And worse. I was smiling. I stepped back. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would tear through my chest. I turned to leave. But the doorway was gone. Only walls. And slashes. And silence. Then I heard the whisper again. Closer now. Inside the room with me. I turned. And saw her. Pale skin. Black eyes. Lips that didn't move even as the whisper filled the room. She raised a hand. And pointed behind me. I turned back to the mirror. And I was gone. Just the cabin. Just the woods behind me. And another figure. Standing where I had been. It smiled. And I knew. The forest never let anyone leave.
If you felt the chill of the forest tonight, imagine what else waits in the shadows. Don't leave just yet. Hit that like button if you survived this story. And if you crave more horror, subscribe to Spooknet, where nightmares never end, and the next tale might be yours. We'll see you in the dark.